non-edible fruit trees. So that's also sort of becoming more popular. It's not exactly agriculture, but yeah. Anything else? So I have a little question for you all. What percentage of Montreal's population do you think is involved or participates in urban agriculture? So that would be like anyone who grows edible food in order to eat it in any way. 15? Okay. Anyone else? 30? Okay. One more guess? 5%? Okay. It's actually 44%. So almost half of people in Montreal grow some sort of edible food, and that probably includes maybe having a basil plant on your balcony, but that's still something, you know? That's still really impressive that almost half of the people are involved. Yeah.
So the latest TV from about only 5% that it's in 1%.
On the plateau, it's less than 1. Yeah, that's super interesting. So yeah, another thing that's really important to keep in mind with urban agriculture is that access to spaces, access to private space is also extremely unequal between neighborhood and where we are in the city. So the plateau is probably a good example of people having, in general, the financial means or access to green space to be able to participate in this project. Yeah, 71, that's amazing. That's a lot of people. Great. Alright, so I wanted to shift to talk about a bit why urban agriculture is so important, what role it can play in our city. We can think specifically about Milton Park, for example, or Montreal, but we can also think about it in terms of every city in the world could benefit from more urban agriculture. So for me, I would say that sort of why we need urban agriculture in our cities is because it's a great counterpoint to sort of all the issues with the industrialized, globalized food system and all the sort of impacts that it has. So from the environmental and from the social perspective. So I would love to hear a bit from all of you why you think what benefits you see urban agriculture bringing, what role you think it should or could play, why you're interested in it. I'll write these down as we're saying them. So soil regeneration. Do you want to explain briefly what you mean?
Like the plants need like really healthy soil with lots of microorganisms and organic matter. Actually, more organic soil will be wiser. And it's the monoculture lawn. This is the kind of super rich soil. Putting organic material, compost, leaves, building soil. Planting it and more biodiversity. You're increasing the biodiversity of the more planting and
or the social aspect, but obviously it has the benefits of providing food for people in need. Especially those who can food diverse or may not necessarily have the means to access to. I think it's a really hard contribution to further develop these values to people in need working more horizons. I think it's very much the future. It's something that can be within our field of really.
Yeah, so if for those who may not know, in a city, the less greenery there is, and the more sort of concrete and asphalt there is, the hotter a city can have for several reasons. So that's why, for example, if you're walking downtown, it feels like it's 45 degrees, but if you go on the mountain, it's way cooler, refreshing, etc. So yeah, urban agriculture can totally help green a neighborhood, especially a super urban neighborhood like Milton Park. That's very what's it called?
Also pollination.
So pollination and all the benefits related to that.
Est-ce que quand vous parlez, soit vous vous tournez, soit vous parlez plus fort, parce qu'en fait il y a quand même beaucoup de monde qui sont rajoutés. Donc soit on se recule et les gens ils avancent, soit vous parlez plus fort parce qu'en arrière il y a quand même du bruit ambiant et on n'entend pas grand-chose. Toi on t'entend un petit peu, mais quand les gens ils parlent, c'est pas suffisant. Et je ne sais pas si tu es capable des données les plus importantes, de les traduire en français, ça serait vraiment le fun, je pense. Est-ce que vous voulez qu'on recule comme ça les gens peuvent avancer parce que ça arrête pas de... Parce que toi tu veux reculer un peu, on peut mettre quelques chaises en avant.
Juste la caméra au cas
On va accrocher, comme ça vous allez bien entendre. Formidable, merci.
Parfait.
Providing, local, healthy, hopefully organic food for people that might be living in food insecurity as well. Yeah. So water management when rainwater falls down, the soil comes to alcohol, it's not gonna in the water and all the overflow goes into the city system. So basically it helps to take the water and yeah, so water management, la gestion de l'eau, it helps, having green spaces helps water infiltrate rather than run off into the sewers.
I believe there is also community aspect very important.
Absolutely, yeah. So Lydia mentioned sort of mental health benefits, which are, really, really important, especially for maybe more vulnerable groups, especially for children or elderly people. So that's a really big part of the Roulant model, and yes, philosophy as well. And yeah, you also mentioned sort of building community, so gardens can be a really beautiful space for people to meet people that they wouldn't normally meet based on other activities. So, yeah, so donc l'aspect plus social faire des liens sociaux vraiment importants, l'aspect communautaire fait vraiment aussi partie des bénéfices déjà. Anything else? Autre chose?
Having food closer to people might help reduce pollution from transportation.
Yeah, totally. So local food, it's not being, shipped to another country. It's not being, staying on the boat. It's not being trucked across the country. So, yeah, the more local, the better in terms of just, greenhouse gas emissions. Donc, ici, le fait qu'en écoutant soit local, ça réduit l'impact environnemental. Il y a moins de transport, moins de gaz à effet de serre. Donc, ça fait partie de ça. Yeah, plants are beautiful. They are, yes. Yes. Donc, that also I think goes into the mental health aspect too. You don't even have to be a gardener to walk by an urban garden and have it sort of impact you positively. There's community impacts beyond even just the people eating or something. Everyone who sees it or even spends time in the garden, there's beautiful spaces. And yeah, I think in terms of food security, I think it's also important to mention that urban agriculture has a part to play in food security, but I don't think, or it's hard to think that urban agriculture could feed everyone enough, especially in a city like Montreal. So I think it is important to distinguish, yes, it has a role to play in, let's say, an organization like Roulant or organizations that are sort of provide a service that helps people in situations of food insecurity. But yes, by no means the only solution. It's just one part, and it won't be able to. Unfortunately, it won't be able to feed everyone, but it is a super important part. Yeah. Any last benefits in terms of reducing it? I would guess that yes. I would say, especially if you're growing your own food, you're so attached to it that it's like very painful to waste it. I know at the Roulant, like none of what we produce gets wasted, or at the very worst, if it's not edible, we compost it. So I think there is definitely an impact. When you grow your own food, you value it much more. Also, I think food waste is a big part of it. Is a problem of not realizing the effort and resources that we have to grow food. So I think that it definitely.
So much, but I think if you could, you try, in the sense of fulfilling your community.
Yeah. Donc, the fierté communautaire, d'appartenance aussi, feeling like you're contributing to your community, which sometimes you're not sure how to go about that, but in agriculture is great. Okay, so having all those benefits in mind, I think we can all, generally agree that urban agriculture is a great thing. There's many benefits, environmentally, socially, for our communities, for the city at large. But there's also quite a few barriers, and as Genevieve was saying, the interest in urban agriculture is huge right now, especially after the pandemic. I think it always has been in Montreal, but the pandemic sort of increased that even more. And it sort of caused people to push up against these barriers that that it's not possible for everyone who wants to garden. Right now, it's not possible for everyone who wants to garden to have a space to garden. So that's a big thing that the city and I think a lot of organizations and communities are working on. So I would love to discuss that with all of you a little bit. So one of the huge, or I would say almost the number one barrier that sort of keeps people from being able to participate in urban agriculture is lack of space. Donc, le manque d'espace, c'est une des choses qui empêche les plus les gens de participer à l'agriculture urbaine. And that goes for private space, so people not having access to a backyard, which many people in Montreal don't have, or even a balcony or a roof that they can grow food on. There's also, I think, really importantly, a lack of public space. There are, the community gardens, but there are so many more people that want to join them, and there's just not enough room for everyone. So that's a really big one. And according to a study done by the city, the second reason people don't participate in urban agriculture is that they're lacking knowledge or skills. So people don't know how to start, they don't know how to keep their plants, for example, they've never learned. Donc, un manque de connaissances, ça serait une autre chose qui empêche un peu les gens à participer dans l'agriculture urbaine. So those are the two main ones. Can anyone think of any other ones that would keep people from gardening in the city?
Lack of time. Like, some people don't realize how much actually they really into cleaning, because of the excessive, especially when you're trying to start doing like the big scale and something. It is a big undertaking, and I think it's lifestyle, but also
Donc le temps aussi, c'est quelque chose qui limite les gens, ça prend beaucoup de temps et d'efforts pour avoir un jardin. Ouais.
Sachant qu'au niveau communautaire, d'autres organismes, il y a également certaines organisations qui prennent des outils pour aller aux quartiers. Donc, c'est là que je suis nécessaire, des outils d'organisation,
Yeah, money can be a factor. As Jen was saying, there's many ways to sort of get around that and not have to put up a lot of your own financial resources. Anything else? Great. So yeah, space, knowledge, time, money. Those are all very important things. And yeah, I think all this sort of speaks to a lack of accessibility. So that's sort of the main factor. Yeah, accessibility, and there's a lot that we and communities and the city can do to make it all more accessible, because the staff volunteer, the willingness is there, and people really want to get involved. So it's just a matter of making it accessible. So yeah, in response to these sort of barriers, there's a few solutions. They're not the only answer, but they can be ways to make urban agriculture more accessible. So I think the most important one is sort of to diversify projects, diversify initiatives. Donc, de diversifier les projets, les initiatives en cours. Because as we're seeing, private gardens or having your own individual parcel, there's not enough space for everyone to do that in the city. And, it's not the best way for us to develop urban agriculture. So thinking of other ways, thinking of, community, collective initiatives that can involve many different people in one garden. I think that's really the way forward to make it also more accessible, because when you're gardening with other people, you're sharing knowledge, you're sharing tools, you're sharing space, you're sharing money if you need to, so that's an amazing way to sort of overcome the hurdles or the barriers that we were just talking about. Yeah, absolutely. I think at the Roulant we have, as you were saying, it takes so much time to maintain a garden, but whenever we have a group of 6 volunteers, like we just manage to get so much done, and it makes such a difference just having more people, and it's way more fun. Yeah, great. And I think also a really important part of making it more accessible is focusing on educational gardens and involving youth a lot. So there's a lot more projects, let's say for schoolyard gardens, which I think usually has a lot of potential, and a lot of organizations focus on teaching youth how to garden or start their own garden. So I think that's also super important, so that people aren't sort of intimidated, or they know how to go about doing their own projects or starting other projects. Does anyone have anything to add to either like barriers or accessibility or things like solutions to the barriers? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the urban agriculture model, and sort of how urban agriculture is integrated into our activities, the services we provide, and yeah, so like I said at the beginning, it's not a perfect model, but I think that it's a model that's developed over many years, and it's sort of been getting better and better and having more and more small pieces added to it. And yeah, like any real food systems, there's tons of small pieces that work together. So as much as possible, I think the Roulant tries to emulate that and really be as much as possible a full system. So for those of you who know the Roulant, our main our main goal or activity is to be a Meals on Wheels service for the plateau and other nearby neighborhoods. So we deliver 5 times a week to more than 100 clients. So that's sort of our bread and butter. It's really doing that. But there's a whole system around that. So we deliver food and we cook it, but we also have, this year we have 3 food production sites with 3 different gardens where we grow food that then goes to the kitchen and then winds up in these houses. So we have 2 urban agriculture gardens, and we have our farm in Sunville. So both of those, or 3 of those places produce food for the Meals on Wheels. And the rest of our harvests go to Conférence, which is a food redistribution organization in the plateau. They have a few different drop-off points around the city. And we also have, the farm has a market, a farmer's market, and they do basket drop-offs. So people sign up for baskets at the beginning of the year, receive them once a week, and we also have a program of solidarity baskets. So part of our clients actually pay an extra fee on their baskets to make a portion of the baskets more accessible. So that's kind of one way that our produce can be made more accessible to people. And so that's sort of the main system of how we work. And then we also have a few volunteer collectors that are super fun and sort of bring different pieces, different important pieces to our system to make it sort of, yeah, more whole, more of a whole food system. So we have the bee collectors on the roof. So we have some hives, and not only do they produce honey, but they help us pollinate our gardens, and we plant a lot of flowers to, help bees be happy and produce honey. We also have a mushroom growing collective. We have three volunteers who will go pick fruit that no one else will harvest, so to avoid it being wasted. And they will either transform the fruit or redistribute it so that it doesn't get wasted. And we also have a worm composting collective. So they actually scrap from the kitchen and compost them in the basement, and then the compost goes back into the garden. So that's sort of a nice loop. They can't compost all of the waste, but they do something and the compost. Are there any questions about this? Oh, yeah, good question. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about our where we grow food. But if anyone has any other questions related to other activities, I'd be super happy to answer. So in our actual offices, we have a green roof and a terrace. So the green roof is actually like soil. So lots of soil right on our roof. So that's obviously a huge infrastructure project. So not the type of project that's the most accessible. It's a lot of money and a lot of work, but we're very lucky to be able to have one. And then we also have normally the terrace one, which is the sort of block on Roy, main Republicville, and right in front of our offices. That is now closed to traffic. And in the past few years, we started growing some edible, a lot of edible plants there. And that's sort of a more public focused project, because anyone walking by will sort of try stuff or help us or read about what's going on. And then this year, we actually have a vegetable garden in the Cité des Hospitalières, which is next to Urbaine, which is owned by the city, and this year we have a contract with them to have a vegetable garden there. So yeah, all of our gardens function essentially as organic gardens. Only the rooftop is actually certified, but we use the same technique everywhere. So no chemicals, organic seeds, etc. And trying as much as possible to have a lot of diversity. So we grow, I think, in each garden we had more than 30 species of plants, which include flowers. So really going for diversity, which has a bunch of functions. And trying to match together plants that help each other, that grow well together, etc. Any questions? Yeah, of course. So we're actually closing our sites next week. It's the end of the season. But the rooftop terrace and the green roof are available for people to go see. So they're actually in our buildings that we go through, but they're open to look around. Yeah. during like office hours, so yeah, business hours. Oh, so yeah, the mushroom collector grows mushrooms. What kind? That's a great question. I don't know. Yeah, they have some growing on the roof right now. So yeah, they were sort of very much slowed down by COVID. They almost like fully stopped, but they like inoculated. They were growing mushrooms in a couple of beds on the roof. Anything else? And yeah, the farm, as I said, is in Senville. They're also organic, and they're obviously quite a bit more productive. Our urban gardens are more focused on education, and transferring knowledge to people, whereas the farm is more focused on more production, but they still welcome volunteers and sort of groups of people, and anytime you go volunteer, you definitely learn a lot, even though they don't, that's not their main time. Yeah, and in general, I would say the values of the Roulant school system are accessibility, so trying to welcome as many different kinds of people as possible into our gardens. We acknowledge that certain groups don't, have the same access to urban agriculture as others, so we, make an effort to welcome, especially youth, into gardens for education. So, for example, this summer we had summer camp groups at the Jardin Institute, which was super fun. And in the spring and fall, we also did school groups. Another really important value is community engagement. So when we were talking before about the values of urban agriculture, feeling like you're giving back to your community in a meaningful way. So that's super important to us. And I think it's also people like knowing that what they're growing is going to go to the Meals on Wheels and be delivered to people that need other delicious food delivered to them. So that's also a really big part of it. Like I said, education and knowledge transfer is also very important for our gardens to be, safe spaces, welcoming spaces for anyone who wants to participate. And as someone was saying, gardens are beautiful, so another really important thing for us is making our gardens beautiful so that people, just exposing people to how beautiful gardens can be, have a really big impact and get really excited about starting their own gardens. So that's a huge thing for us too, even if someone comes and does just one volunteership. We hope that just by being in the garden for one afternoon, it's like inspiring and makes them want to start their own garden. Any questions? Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. So that's what I wanted to share about I think the core of our strategy is really sort of building a system, that's like as full circle as possible. So not just growing the food, but growing it, cooking it, bringing it to people, composting the leftovers, teaching people how to grow their own food. So it's really as much as possible trying to touch on all the aspects of urban agriculture. I think that's really the main ethos. Okay, and for the last little part, I was hoping to sort of have a conversation with all of you, whoever wants to participate, about how we can all be more involved in urban agriculture. We spoke a lot about sort of what barriers there are, but also all the beautiful benefits that can come from it. So So yeah, if anyone wanted to share sort of how you're all involved in it or want to be involved, or any projects or ideas that are inspiring to you or that you've heard of or seen. Maybe I'll share a couple and then.
Don't be shy to share any ideas, regarding all years, we keep it going. And we're looking forward to everyone.
So yeah, a couple strategies or a couple main strategies to get involved, especially if you don't have space or you don't have private space, 10-year wait list for community gardens, not the easiest thing to get into. So one way that people are getting involved is sort of just using public space that's not being used really or underused. So I've seen people plant around like trees in the sidewalk, like the cedar trees. I've seen people plant in like the depth or any alleyway really that has earth and these containers. Taylor was also talking about guerrilla gardening. So gardening in sort of any empty space that's not being used. Yeah. Good question. Watering is a huge thing with gardening. Yeah, I guess going back and watering or planting plants that are more resistant to drought or things that rain will be enough to. I would say like ground cherries are pretty good. They'll kind of grow anywhere. Sunflowers too. Maybe not a vegetable, but there's two kinds that like on our roof we didn't plant any, but they just like popped up on their own every year. I mean, if it's people planting in public spaces, so even just, the city has tons of planters that don't get planted or, are sort of underused, so that's also really nice. And so, that's sort of one way of finding space. And another, I would say, is really community initiatives that are almost always looking for more people. So these could be like community organizations, citizens committees, NGOs, especially people can't see too. So these are all, organizations that want to help people be involved in urban agriculture. They have resources or space to share, and this is a great way if you don't have space or knowledge or that much time, kind of like you were saying before, getting involved with the group is like, I think, the best way of getting involved in urban agriculture. And really the last sort of way is kind of gardening above ground, so also not possible for everyone if you don't have a balcony or anything, but there are tons of plants that you can grow in pots and containers. You have these really cool like double falls bottom pots on our terrace that keep the plants watered for really long. So there's tons of things that you can make yourself. It doesn't have to be. I can read like avenues. Does anyone have any other ideas, examples, or any general comment or question? Yeah.
There's so many smart rooftops in Montreal. Is there any knowledge about what it takes to make a rooftop garden? I mean, I, for instance, have a flat roof. And access to the roof, I just don't know, from an engineering standpoint. And the cost implications.
Yeah, so there are like companies or organizations that specialize in that. I would say that like having an actual green roof where you have soil, let's say covering part or all of your roof, is extremely expensive. And for an old building, it's like you need to like reinforce the structure, you need to have water, like drainage. So unfortunately very complicated because there's so much potential on the roofs of the city. I would say like it's a lot easier to garden in pots on a roof, like the philosophy of that. Way more.
I can see an idea.
Non, j'ai rien.
Merci beaucoup, Adrienne. Je trouve que tu fais un travail formidable. J'aime beaucoup les idées que tu apportes. Les développes sur le projet tout à fait facile pour les gens dans la communauté de développer. La Ville de Montréal nous encourage. C'est justement un programme pour les publics. Les parcs d'armes, c'est simple aussi. On pense qu'ils sont en avant chez nous et qui ont eu aussi de plastique. Nous nous racontent merci de nous donner l'inspiration et de nous expliquer le jardinage. J'en profite pour vous demander si jamais vous avez envie de vous impliquer pour le programme solidaire, vous pouvez nous rejoindre sur Facebook, le jardin collectif de l'État. Sinon, vous pouvez faire ici si vous voulez vous inscrire pour recevoir l'information sur nos activités. Donc, je ne sais pas comment dire ça, c'est comme c'est pas officiellement la fin de la saison.